Hello, how are you?
Good to hear from you.
Good to be back. How's everybody doing?
Good enough. Good. Looking forward to the beginning of the year.
Me too.
All right, yeah, I'll give it one more minute and then we'll go ahead and get started and then folks can hop on as needed. But what we are going to do tonight, so I'll go over the agenda in a second, but I'll go ahead and go through intros and committee overview. Through research, outreach, and advocacy, our mission is to promote equity, diversity, and excellence in East Charlotte schools. Who we serve, we have a list of 32 schools that we work with or have worked with in the past in East Charlotte, but we are focusing really a lot of our efforts this year, subcommittee wise, on the Garinger, Mary Oaks, and Eastway feeder with a lot of energy and intentional focus behind that, as it's right in the center of our geographic footprint. But our focus areas that we decided last fall for this year were going to be facilitating school community partnerships, incorporating student voice, and student assignment. Committee norms meetings will be held the second Monday of every month at this time. Please speak up, share your interests, passions, ideas, proposals, invite others to the table, and stay on topic, respect time. And last but most importantly, always let the best interests of children guide our work. So with that said, our agenda for tonight, we're going to start off with Miss Kathy Fulbright with the Garinger Education. I don't know why I put committee. Garinger Education Foundation. I'm sorry, Kathy. The wonderful GEF. We are going to hear from the Garinger Eastway Mary Oaks subcommittee. I do not see anybody on the call right now from that subcommittee, but I can provide updates. Then we are going to want to discuss very briefly some of the magnet changes that were of note that happened over this summer since we've had the opportunity to speak. Give a brief update on where we stand with the bond referendum and a quick overview of magnet express stops, which are going to be coming very quickly to our schools. So, I am gonna go ahead and with that said, Kathy, I am gonna go ahead and turn it over to you. Do you need to share the screen at all?
We'll see. I have a document that I can share, but with this small group, we can probably just talk. I
Okay.
can just, and I'm not planning on taking but about 5 minutes or so. And then if y'all have questions, you can ask, or we can, however you do it, if you ask them at the end. But feel free to jump in while I'm speaking. I really appreciate you all letting me join you tonight. I had connected with Greg. Well, we've connected in the past at school. And I connected with him early in the summer to see if we could speak to some of the Charlotte East folks and let you all know what the Garinger Education Foundation is, and maybe how we can partner or collaborate. So the Garinger Education Foundation was started in 2014 by Garinger alumni. And the classes of 63 and 64 at their 50th reunion, they wanted to do something for the students of Garinger and also memorialize some folks that were important to them in their class, the KIAs from their class that were killed in action in Vietnam. So they did two things. They raised money at their reunion and built a Vietnam memorial on the grounds of Garinger out in the front circle, honoring those 18 KIAs. And then in addition, they raised money for scholarships. And they started off by giving scholarships in the names of those KIAs, memorial scholarships in the names of those KIAs. We've since changed a little bit. Our focus is still to provide opportunities for post-secondary education for graduates of Garinger. But we still provide academic achievement awards, a small cash prize to the top 18 graduates, memorializing those KIAs. But we've shifted a little bit in our scholarships. We have two primary scholarship programs. We currently have traditional scholarships that can be used at any accredited school. It can be a trade school, vocational school, 2-year institution, 4-year institution. And then we have a joint scholarship program with Central Piedmont Community College, which both of them are fantastic programs, but I get really excited about the Central Piedmont program because we have a lot of our students, that's their initial path. Our current students anyway, that's their, and we feel like that is really, for the community college system, is a very economically feasible way for any student to begin their college career, starting on that path. And then if they choose to transfer to a 4-year institution, move on. But we have a joint scholarship program right now where any student that has graduated from Garinger in the past 10 years is eligible if they're taking at least 6 credit hours. If they maintain a 2.0 average, Garinger provides them with a $250 award at the end of their semester. And if they maintain a 2.5 average, the CPCC Foundation matches that. So they get $500 deposited in their account. They don't have to apply for that. That just happens. They get a notice saying this is where this money came from. And when they if they complete a associate's degree, each time they get that award in their CPCC account, if you will, they have an opportunity to apply for a transfer scholarship as well. So we offer transfer scholarships. Currently, our board is an all-volunteer board. We manage everything from fundraising, marketing, to scholarship management. So it's a big job, but we're all very passionate about it. Our board's made up from alumni, some faculty and staff, former faculty and staff, and then community folks that are just passionate about what we do and want to help those students at Garinger achieve some of their post-secondary educational dreams. As far as the future, we're starting to try to go through some growing pains. We've been in existence for almost 7 years now. Is that right? No, almost 10 years now. Sorry. We've awarded over $750,000 in scholarship awards in those 9-10 years. It's becoming a big job. You can imagine we've got about 48 scholars currently in our pipeline that we're awarding scholarships that are either in their freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. And then we've also got the joint scholarship program at Central Piedmont going on. So we're trying to figure out the best way to manage this scholarship program going forward, but yet maybe even figure out how we can reach even more students than we're currently reaching, and allowing their pathway to be more clear as far as financial goals. So our reason in trying to connect with the neighborhood groups that are in the feeder area for Garinger is really just to let you know about us. And if you're interested in partnering with us, whether it be from an organizational standpoint, or if you're interested as an individual, and we're always looking for new board members. We have folks rolling off every year. So if you know someone that might be interested, please feel free to share our information with us. I can, if you'd like to, Greg, I don't have our 2023 impact report finished yet, but I've got our 2022 one that I can put up on the screen, or I can give to you. Go ahead
and put that up so we can just see, because it's incredible. So I want to make sure we can get that visual.
So
you should have sharing permissions.
Okay, let's see here. Oops. Okay, I got it. Let's see here. Oh, why is it not? Okay, let me go back. Do you see the impact report now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So these are some of our graduates from last year. Jack Zamadon is at UNC Charlotte. That's the young woman on the left. Sorry, but I've forgotten the young man's name on the right. Greg, you may know him, but I'm not sure. Jack's, I think, just finished her freshman year with a 4.0 at UNC Charlotte. So this was last year. Last year we awarded 13 new traditional scholarships. In the fall semester last year, we had 68 Garinger graduates participating in that joint scholarship program at Central Piedmont. And then we had 38 scholarship renewals in the pipeline. As of last summer, 86 of our scholars had graduated with degrees and had earned over 100 degrees or professional certifications. So we had some that had received associate's degrees, some that had received bachelor's degrees, some that had received bachelor's and master's degrees. So a total of over 100 degrees at that time. And as I said, I mentioned $750,000 in scholarships awarded. That was last year. I don't have the total for this year, but our budget is typically just under $100,000 a year now. So I'm sure we're closer to 850, but I don't want to quote it, so I don't put it out there. So, and with us being an all volunteer board, last year we were right at about 96.5% of our funds received went directly to scholarships or initiatives at Garinger. We do some teacher appreciation luncheons currently, and I think this is changing. As of last year, there wasn't an active PTA or PTSA. I think that's something that's in the works that they're trying to rejuvenate. But we tried to at least help out by providing some teacher luncheons on early release days and at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year. Let me see if there's any other, there's our mission statement to provide scholarship opportunities to graduating students and enhance educational program at Garinger. The 3 scholarship programs, I didn't mention transfer scholarships when I was going through scholarship programs, but we do have that. And we've actually just this year, this fall, have 2 new transfer scholars that completed their associate's degrees at Central Piedmont, and we're moving on to a 4-year degree. Here's a list of the institutions that our scholars have attended. And I don't think we have any new ones this year, but there's a pretty wide range, and almost all, not all, but almost all of the schools in the University of North Carolina system are represented here. As well as some outside and traditional HBCUs. So we're really thrilled with the broad reach that our scholars have attended. And that's pretty much it from our impact report. I'm trying to think if I have forgotten anything, or I'd be happy to open it up for questions or comments. Greg, you might have comments, I don't know, but we can open it up now.
So I will say 2 things. For those unfamiliar, I mean, the work that the Garinger Education Foundation does is truly, it's phenomenal. You know, we have not had an active PTA for years. It is very difficult for multiple reasons to organize, not for lack of trying by any means, but it has been very, very difficult when there are so many other things on the plate. The Garinger Education Foundation has time and time again stepped in to support teachers. So, you know, while I know the bulk of the work is dedicated to those scholarships, their impact on our whole school culture is really incredible, and they're a constant positive presence in the space. What I will say, and I don't know, Kathy, if you've had the opportunity to connect, but we have the principals with us on call from both the elementary and middle school feeder Lorenda Deneen and Miss Telfair from Mary Oaks, so Miss Deneen from Eastway. Have you all had the opportunity to go over there and connect with them yet?
We have not, and we would welcome that.
Okay, and I'm sure absolutely that as I think about how we strengthen our feeder pattern, right? Like how we get the kids to stay as they progress through, the elementary to the middle. Highlighting this to parents is huge because I don't know if it still is, but it used to be the only foundation of its kind earmarked for a specific high school, right? At one point, I think it was. I don't know if that's still the case, Kathy, but
I'm sorry, say that again.
I remember when the foundation first came about, it was one of the only foundations explicitly dedicated to a specific like school, right? Like not all schools had specific foundations, but
That's true. There are a couple of foundations, but they're not geared towards scholarships. I think Myers Park
yes.
has a foundation, and I think I may be speaking incorrectly, but I think Harding may have one. But I don't think they're geared towards scholarships. And that's one thing we've been trying to get the word out to some of these neighborhoods to let them know, hey, the people that don't have kids yet high school age, hey, there's scholarship money out there at Garinger that we're providing as this, for this, from this foundation. And so I think it would be good. I think the idea of connecting at a lower level and getting that word into those families, and some of those families may want to get involved with the foundation from a organizational standpoint as well. I was getting ready to put my email in the chat so y'all would have it.
Sure. Beth, I see you. Go ahead.
Well, I was a 1964 graduate from Garinger, but I didn't hear about the foundation until after our 50th reunion. And there was a woman that connected us with students that had just graduated, and I helped a Vietnamese girl named My Nguyen for a couple of years with writing because she, her English wasn't that great with the writing, but I didn't know if you all still do that or if that's gone by the wayside or it's just scholarship.
Yeah, we are not. I think that was before my time. That was early on in the foundation, but they stopped doing the mentoring. And I'll be honest with you, I think it was a manpower issue. I think the foundation had to hone in on what their focus was going to be, being an all volunteer board.
Exactly.
And so unfortunately, I think that's one of the things that had to fall off the plate. I wish it could, because what you just said that you were involved in, and I'm sure Greg can attest to this, is that is still such a strong need, because there's so many immigrant students at Garinger.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Kathy? Okay, Kathy, I think it'll be an awesome opportunity whenever after the beginning few months get going, for you to connect with principals Deneen and Telfair, because I think the more as we talk strategically, like I said, about attracting them and catching those families when they're young, this is such a unique and phenomenal asset. And programming aside, like we can talk, because programming is another piece of it, like what's offered at the schools, but to have a dedicated support group and shows like how strong the alumni network is phenomenal.
Well, I really appreciate y'all letting me sneak into your meeting. And I put my email in the chat, but I guess I'll reach back out to you, Greg, and I can get the principal's information and connect with you. Okay. Oh, East Mac High School. Yep. That was right. That was the other one that I remembered. thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, SY. Okay, I'll make sure, well, you guys can message each other on here too if you want to exchange contact information while we're on the call. But Kathy, the next part of our agenda, I think, is super germane to what you and the foundation might be interested in terms of what the community is doing in the neighborhoods. We have a really robust new group of parents who have young children that are not even at the elementary level yet, some that are going into it, who are very gung-ho about sending their children to Eastway and Garinger. So with that said, Katie, I will go ahead and turn it over to you if that is good. And just to give a little bit of context, Katie Birdsall is leading the charge on this. And she is a Plaza Midwood parent. And we had our first subcommittee meeting of the Garinger, Eastway, and Mary Oaks subcommittee meeting last week. And there were about, I would say, like 8 folks in attendance. It was pretty good, 8 or 9 folks in attendance. And some real phenomenal deliverables and work divisions were split up. So with that said, Katie, I will leave it to you.
Hi, everybody. I do apologize. I'm in the middle of bedtime right now. So my 3-year-old is joining us as well. So can you say hi?
Hi.
So he will be a future Eastway and a future Garinger. I can't do the math right now to tell you when, but I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. This subcommittee started by just like a bunch of moms in this area who we were getting just a little bit frustrated with all of the talk around schools, how we live in an area with bad schools, and have everybody spend so much time and energy focused on the lottery process and finding ways to deviate from the school path that we're supposed to be on. The person who got us in with CharlotteEAST was Amy Hahn Nelson. She knows Greg very well, and we're so excited for that partnership because that's an amazing platform for us to combine. I'm so excited about this because I'm a huge person for community. I've met with the Eastway principal and the Garinger principal, and I still need to meet with Mary Oaks. I haven't got that one yet. Basically, our 2 main goals of focus this year are going to be supporting the staff and the teachers. If they don't have love from us, it's going to be so hard to keep staff happy and keeping, they need love, as we all know from COVID and everything else. And then the other one that we're going to focus on is the behavior system and donating our money and time to that as well. We have a ton of ideas in place, t-shirts and fundraisers, and that session that we just had last week was really good. It was just like a massive list of what can we do if the world was our oyster, how can we support everybody at these schools? But we don't want to get too excited and do too much and burn out. So we're taking it a little bit by little. I have a meeting coming up soon with some people from the Vine Church, which is right in Plaza Midwood, because they want to get involved with the community. Then I also have a meeting coming up soon with, I think it was an AME church. I think it's Whispering Willow. I can't remember the name exactly, but she wants to get involved specifically with Garinger as well. So I'm very excited about all of it. Our big kickoff is going to be the Garinger giveaway, where we're collecting backpacks and school supplies, hygiene products, and a bunch of other things. So I have a flyer for that. I'll make sure that Greg gets that out to everybody just to make sure we're spreading the word on that one. Oh, you have it. Thank you. So I think that wraps up most of it, unless you have any specific questions for me. Hey, buddy, be quiet for a second.
And I will say, and I'll add on to Katie, the one thing that was discussed is the group of 8 folks or so who were there decided to divvy up the supports between the 3 schools. So I know Carol Sawyer was over there at Mary Oaks, or she said she was going to be going to Mary Oaks. I guess she did to go help out. So there's an even not labor, you know what I mean, even distribution of support for each school, and that there will be designated point contacts. So like, as all you know, when you take on leadership positions, you don't get the one person who's getting inundated with needs from all the different areas. So I think that the structure is going to be really good. And as we discussed, looking at one initiative per quarter. And I think as we talked about what Katie was just saying with the fundraising, Principal Deneen, we were talking about your PBIS initiatives and how to financially support those, but doing that more so, I think it was second quarter, Katie, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was something we looked at quarter 2 or quarter 3, but it was definitely on there. But it's that,
Yeah,
again,
I think it was quarter 2.
Okay. And the first one, and I do want to give a little bit more on the Garinger giveaway. Every year, our social workers do a pretty robust giveaway for our families. At any given time, we have, the numbers always fluctuate as they do, but we have between 50 and I think at my highest count was about 120 McKinney-Vento students. And for those who do not know, McKinney-Vento means they are there without firm, solid housing. And that could mean a lot of things. It could mean living in a household with multiple families, living in an extended day motel, living in a shelter. So we're talking about at any really given time, you have between 5 and 10% of your entire student body is homeless. So with that said, this initiative is extremely important. And it's not just for our McKinney-Vento students, it's for our entire population. And I think we're all very familiar with the socioeconomic challenges that, this specific feeder pattern faces. But I believe last year, 95% of our student body came from low socioeconomic status. So this is very big. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Tiffany Hutchins, the social worker, said they're trying to support, is it 500 families this year?
Yeah, I think she said 400 to 600 was her goal, or what she thought that would come across.
Okay. So that is just really the ask, is what I know Katie and their team is going to do is really be run point for the promotion of this, particularly in the Plaza Midwood and surrounding neighborhoods, to gather resources and supports. The school social worker is going to set up an Amazon wish list as well for supports that we can push out to the community to get donations directly in terms of goods that the school can get and provide to the kids. So we'll be pushing this out quite a bit over the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks or so, and hope that it's something that can be shared. But it's a light lift. It's really drop off items, drop off things, and get the word out. Beth, yes.
I hate to keep butting in, but I also went to Eastway, and for the last I worked the last 6 years. I worked at Eastway, and for the last 10 years, I've been taking my big plants to Eastway and putting it in the lobby and in the media center. But also, usually every quarter, I provided snacks for the staff. And I can tell you, they really appreciate that kind of thing, anything, staff. So I would be glad to help participate in that for any of the schools.
Awesome. And one thing we discussed too, Charlotte East is, as an organization, we are in a positive way on the hook to be receiving some significant funding from nonprofit partners in the coming year, upwards of 6 figures. And what we would like to do with some of those funds is to continue some initiatives that we had in the past, but had to stop for some financial reasons, but One of them being that we discussed with Katie was a teacher appreciation celebration, like targeted for specific staff members that are up to like principal discretion at staff meetings, that a gift card comes from CharlotteEAST to a local restaurant that's in our community. So folks will be able to, you know, go and invest in the small bit in all small businesses. We did this 3 years ago with the 32 Teachers of the Year in East Charlotte, and we let them choose their East Charlotte restaurant of choice and got them, I think it was like a $40 gift card to each. So would love to get back. I mean, we are going to get back going on that, no doubt. But that is just something also, Beth, to echo what you're saying. A lot of that targeted recognition too, like helps with staff retention, because I know as somebody who sees it daily and sees what even individualized quick praise does for staff morale. And I know the administrators on this call can echo that as well. Like, you know, it's often really an awesome thing to give staff luncheons, this and that, which is excellent. I'm not knocking it, but I think that personalized attention to staff members is extremely important as well. Yes, April.
Thanks, Greg. I just wanted to see if this date is correct or if you mentioned it September instead of August.
It is. It's
Oh,
September.
yes, I'm sorry. I was thinking of August 23rd as Garinger's open house, so my brain combined both of them. No, it is September 26th.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to add a little bit to what we've talked about. We decided on this really good thing where we're going to alternate who we're asking help from to not burn anybody out. And that kind of ties into the gift cards for the teachers. We would ask our community, and that could be, you know, your friends, your family, and everybody else like that. And then maybe the next month or the next quarter, we'll focus on businesses and maybe going to businesses and being like, do you have gift cards you want to donate to this process? And then that would help directly, and then build like relationships with the schools through the community in that direction as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. And I'll make sure that her email is shared in the follow-up that goes out to this later this week for those of you who want to get involved specifically with this work. We've had a really good, robust conversation, so I'm going to be super short on these. And please, those of you these are your schools or your areas of focus, please correct me if I speak out of turn on any of these items. But I did want to note, you know, as we're waiting on our bond referendum, which are programmatic changes tied to potential facility changes pending the passing of this $2.5 billion bond in November, there was also a change that, I don't know, Principal Deneen, I was surprised when we saw it because it was just kind of in the middle of the night during the summer, in a good way though, in a very good way. And I know you're driving, so if I can just speak to it unless you want to. I don't want you to. I want you to be safe, so I'll speak to it real quick. Eastway Middle the Board of Education voted to give Eastway Middle a Cambridge magnet program. And what Cambridge is, for those of you who don't know, in the best way, and I still kind of struggle to explain it, it's analogous to IB, but it's not exactly the same. It is an advanced form of programming, and the idea of this is to kind of serve as a EastMech has IB, Garinger will have Cambridge. That is the plan. So as a way to strengthen the ties between, again, Eastway and Garinger on an academic side, to get those students and those families invested in this program at the middle school age, so they'll be able to continue their studies in this exact program as they go into high school. So I'm not sure exactly when those magnet changes are going to take place. And we will, I will ensure that, you know, because I don't think it's this year, but we will make sure that the next year. Okay, cool. Next year they'll take place. So more to come on that. That's something to look out for the lottery for this year. And that ties in directly to the next one I want to bring up. Well, it's not directly in our feeder pattern, this was a news story that came out about a month ago about the aviation program, the partnership that CMS is now doing with American Airlines for juniors and seniors who want to get involved in the aerospace field. I'm gonna share more information about it and the news story, but it is gonna start again next year, not this year. And it will be at Waddell, so it will be part of the full, if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be a full magnet program that I believe is gonna be open to everybody in the district. So it will be a full magnet, but more to come on that. I believe there are going to be some community engagement sessions that have not been scheduled yet, but for folks who want to learn more about it, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity, right? There's a shortage of folks in the field. The industry needs kids or needs workers, and the partnership should really do some awesome things for our kids. So. Alrighty, bond referendum. The only thing I'm going to bring up about this is that it is going to be on the ballot in November for $2.5 billion. This has been part of our advocacy for years now, is getting some of these changes made programmatically to Garinger, including the World Languages Magnet, IMEX changing from Cochrane to Garinger as part of this as well. But this is going to be, I've been speaking with a few board members on this. Like, it is absolutely going to be it's going to be an uphill task. And not to be pessimistic, but just being very realistic about this. $2.5 billion on the ballot is going to be, it's a huge ask. And to my understanding, the language as it is written, as it is going to be written on the ballot, includes the words tax increase. The last time I was told, so, that is going to be an uphill battle. The Charlotte Regional Business Alliance are the individuals who are running point on community awareness and promotion of voting in favor of the bond. I am a little bit stressing about the timeline that we have right now, because we're coming up on this in 2.5 months. And I know Jennifer De La Hara and Susan Rodriguez McDowell just made an appearance on WSOC over the weekend to really promote it publicly, and are starting to get that public promotion going. But that is coming up. So as you have conversations with folks in your circles and stakeholders, getting this bond pass is going to be critical for not just East Charlotte schools, but for CMS in general. And the last thing I want to share before I open up the floor is please be aware, for those who are parents or those who communicate with parents, about the upcoming changes to CMS's transportation program with the Magnet Express stops. So, and again, please correct me if I'm getting some details wrong on this, but the concept now is that students who aren't in the home zone of the magnet that they would be going to will be going to a designated bus stop that they have to be brought to and dropped off at by their parent or another means of transportation, to then get on a CMS bus that will take them to their magnet. And I don't know, Jan, if am I saying that? Am I explaining that correctly?
Yes, that's correct. So it's not just a remote parking lot. Normally, it is another school. So when I was the principal at Thomasboro, kids actually were picked up at my school in the morning to go to a magnet school. So my parking lot served as one of those shuttle stops before school hours.
Got it. Okay. So this isn't like a completely new thing, but it's just more widespread now. It's just, so for example, like the map right here, I'll show you all, and this was, wow, they just published this. I didn't realize they just published this 4 hours ago. If you want to look at South Met, because we always talk about, we lose on the east side, what is it, like 250 to 300 or whatever it was. I know the number fluctuates, to the East MEC, to the South MEC World Languages program. Now those parents, instead of getting transportation that is going to pick them up on specific routes, those parents and families are going to have to be drop off their students at specific points. And there's schools, like, so for example, it would be, as Jan was just saying, like Garinger. Garinger is going to be a drop-off point that parents going to have to bring their child to, and then that child will get on a bus, and then from that bus, that child will go to their site, South Mech, and then they'll take the bus back, get dropped off at Garinger, and then they will be picked up at Garinger, have to find their own transportation home. So this is a pretty, I mean, this is a pretty big shift for a lot of our schools, a lot of our magnets, and how our kids are going to do things in East Charlotte. And, you know, as we've talked about for years with this subcommittee, or this committee, about how many students we lose from the Garinger feeder pattern to magnets. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think our attendance zone now is 3,600 kids, I think, for Garinger. And I think we're slated right now for 2,000 that are going to be attending. And that number always fluctuates too, but it's, you know, I'm very curious to see the first 10 days of school, how this express program really shakes out, because as great as CMS has done of a job of promoting it and ensuring that parents know what's going on, there are always going to be some who just, you know, first day gets there and they realize the first week that it's not working for them. So, and I don't know, Jan, if you guys in the LC are anticipating any, or even in the district, what the fluctuation might be, or telling principals that there might be fluctuation in the beginning, but it's going to be interesting and something to watch.
Sorry. Yeah, there's the reason why it's just updated is because they started going through and asking parents for feedback for things that would be like easier, or things that were going to keep them. What they really want to know is what is going to keep you from going to a magnet based on this. And so then they made some changes, but they'll always be looking, just like any other bus stop, you know, if it's a safety concern or there's any other kind of issue, we might have to fluctuate this. If no kids are coming, you know, because parents will sign up for this, but then take their kid to the school instead of putting them on the bus anyway. So they'll change some things around as needed those first couple of weeks.
Okay, awesome. Alrighty, so that is the end of our formal agenda. We have about 13 minutes left. I'm going to open the floor for anyone who wants to make an announcement, share anything, and I'll be sure to also push this information out as well. Yes, Joanne.
Good evening, everyone. I have a couple of questions. And the short answer is fine, and you can tell me offline if I need to. This Cambridge program, is this an equivalent to AP or AB, or is it a step down?
Good question.
And then my second question is, I saw where it was announced that CMS is 500 teachers short. And I was wondering, do we know what the impact of that is for our immediate area, like Eastway, Mary Oaks, or Garinger? Do we know what the impact of that is? But those are my two questions.
Lorenda, you want to take the first one?
Sure. So first of all, I want to apologize that I'm in my car. Had to work late and then go to the teacher store to get some stuff for our teachers. So I apologize that I was on my way home. But thank you all for the opportunity to speak. And to be completely honest with you, we haven't had a lot of training and information on the Cambridge Magnet yet, because it was just newly announced in the last couple of months. But it is supposed to be very similar to that, where it provides students with access to rigorous learning experiences, and it helps us prepare our students for high school and college and beyond. And I think, as Greg pointed out, one of the most important parts for me as the principal of Eastway of us getting this magnet theme is that it is aligned to the magnet theme that Garinger is going to start this year with Cambridge. And I think that that's going to allow us to keep more students in that feeder pattern. Mr. Pratt, the principal at Garinger, and I have worked together all throughout the year to try to coordinate things that we're doing in both of our schools so that we can be aligned and on the same page, even as far as things like behavior expectations, dress code, cell phone policies, things that we can do at the middle school level to prepare our students for that next route when they do hit Garinger. And we have some other things in the work that we really want to do this year, specifically with getting our students over to Garinger, getting Garinger students to come over to Eastway to really promote and highlight the incredible opportunities that are available to students at Garinger, so that our students at Eastway will want to go there. Because being my first year at Eastway this past year, speaking especially with our 8th grade students, many of them were saying they were going to go to East Mech, or they were going to go to Philip O'Berry, or they were going to some other magnet themed school somewhere else, and had not even considered Garinger as a viable option for their high school educational path. And so I really want to make sure that everything that we do at Eastway is aligned to what's happening at Garinger, and that we can continue getting the good word and the positive message out, not just about Garinger and Eastway, but also our elementary schools in the area, and really forming those relationships with the families and the community in East Charlotte. Because my goal as the principal of Eastway is to have the line, why not Eastway? Why would you not want to send your kid to Eastway Middle School? Why would you not want to send your kid to Garinger High School? We have incredible programming that's happening, amazing staff, the best students in CMS. I'm a huge advocate and lover of East Charlotte. In fact, I just bought a house over here in January, so very excited to finally be back on this side of town and a part of the community again. But this is the best part of Charlotte, and I think we have so much to offer, whether it's our magnet themes or just really highlighting the great things that are happening in all of our schools in this area every day, as much as we can, to get everybody in our community to see what a beautiful place we have here, and the amazing students and staff and really educational opportunities that we can offer our students. So while I don't have a lot of information about Cambridge, I do know that it is supposed to help prepare our students really for college and beyond. And I think that having a clear path at the middle school level with Cambridge into that high school feeder path is going to be a really great opportunity for us to maintain our student population. Mr. Pratt and I have talked, when we look at the students who are supposed to be projected at Garinger, Greg is right. I mean, it's a significant amount of students that are lost in this area that are going to other high school options. And the same is said about Eastway. We have so many families in the community that aren't sending their kids to Eastway as a middle school option after they leave elementary school. So whatever we can do at the middle and high school level to get the families engaged and really to see the beauty that is our schools, I think we are going to do some incredible work together.
Absolutely. And I will say my understanding too, and again, I'm not really familiar on Cambridge either, Joanne, but it's different from AP. So like I can teach an AP course and the kid can sign up for that course. But my understanding is Cambridge is more of a program, right? More of a trajectory. So it is similar to an IB, and it's viewed upon with a very high level of esteem by colleges. And it's an extremely, my understanding, it's a rigorous, very rigorous pathway. So, but the teacher shortage, I don't know. I was in school today and it looked pretty good. We had a lot of people.
That, Greg. So we, I know that we've taken a hit at Garinger just in the last 2 weeks. We've had some people stolen, is what has happened, because we have great teachers there. Many of them have taken some promotions elsewhere in the district. However, we've been working very closely. The principals update us every week, if not more often, on a spreadsheet where they're telling us not only if they've recommended someone, but also when that person was hired, because a lot of our biggest frustrations lie in how long it takes to get them through HR and through the licensure and things like that. But in the meantime, HR has developed other ways to help with class coverage that are actually going to monetarily incentivize teachers. So if Greg said, all right, during my planning, I'll go ahead and take on that other English class because we don't have a teacher, he's actually going to get paid to do so, not just $35, Greg. There's a stipend that goes in for the semester. And then other things that we're doing is trying to get creative. For example, Garinger gets out at 2:15. They may have a Math 1 teacher that wants to earn some extra money by driving on down to Eastway and teaching a Math 1 class at the end of the day, because Eastway does not release until 4:15. So they can do that. And again, they're paid for that. So they've opened up some avenues for us to get a little bit more creative than what we've been able to do in the past. And although the hits that have come are mostly in secondary math right now, we have been working really hard to try to find some coverage and share ideas amongst all of the high schools, not just, those even just in our learning community, but within the district, to try to get some ideas of how we handle these vacancies until we can try to get someone in that position. But the goal is to always have a licensed teacher, someone who knows what they're doing, to be in that classroom and not just have a babysitter, obviously. And the best way to do that is to ask our teachers, to step up and help out in that way.
And I will add on a note for our English department, Joanne. I know we lost 3 folks over the summer, one who had 15 plus years of experience, one who had 8, and another one who had I think Larry had 6. All of them left for different professions, right? They all loved Garinger, truly loved Garinger, right? You don't stay there more than 3 years if you don't. And we have a lot of people who stay for a while. But I think it's really indicative. I know folks look at CMS sometimes and are like, what's going on? It is such a national crisis. And I get even tired of reading that, but it's so true. I mean, just nonstop. It's so difficult, even with the supplement that we get in Mecklenburg, to keep up. But I will say too, having been at Garinger 10 years now, I think the turnover this past year, from what I saw, it's significantly lower than in years past, at least because we were at one point hitting 25% staff turnover, and it's not a quarter staff turnover anymore. Yeah, it was rough for a while, but a lot of it does come down to leadership too, Joanna. And I know in our, and I'm really not just saying this because y'all are on the call, but I speak about this with other groups as well. When you have strong leadership top down in the learning community, from the executives to the principals, that are all aligned on the same page, which is evident from 3 y'all being on this call right now, it helps so much with staff retention and just with culture building for the schools, for the students, and it helps with student performance. So, alrighty, we got 3 minutes left. Any other announcements, things that I missed, things that folks have questions, want to raise?
Greg, I don't have a question, but I just want to give a big shout out to Carol Sawyer. She came over and supported my staff and my team. So the volunteer portal, or however you have that set up on this committee, it is working, and it has been a tremendous to get us on the right start for the school year. She came in, we had a list. She was excited to just jump right on in. A lot of our staff members have had a lot of professional development this school year, a lot of changes in CMS, and a lot of people have been in PD. So it's been difficult to get a lot of those beginning of the year items completed that we wanted completed. And she came in and has knocked it out the ballpark. She's not on here, but if you can just send my gratitude.
I'm texting her right now.
Are.
She's sick. She was like, I can't, I wish I would have made it, but I told her. She was like, so she's awesome. That's good to hear.
Yes, thank you so much.
Awesome. Alrighty, y'all. So what I think, I can't believe we're starting school in 2 weeks, which I'm super excited about. You know, this is good things ahead, but I will try to get this video recording and updates out. And I know Katie will get the point persons for the specific schools. We'll put in an email to folks so they can coordinate with. And I see your little one over there is about to read to us. Look at that. Early childhood literacy, y'all. There is nothing more important. If you have kids, get their reading checkup, Mecklenburg County. Get that. So, bye, y'all. Have a wonderful evening.